Working in a nursing home, it gives you a chance to observe and watch different people, and not just patients, but people that you interact with on a daily, like your coworkers. And over my last 6 years of being in this field, I've noticed a lot of things, and even within myself. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I've said that in the past, the nursing home attracts some of the people with the worst attitudes, and I think that may be healthcare in general. But one thing I really started to notice is that it is impossible, darn near impossible rather, to try to heal other people if you haven't even attempted to heal the trauma within yourself. Let's talk about it.
But you can live pretty well by yourself.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? My name is CJ, aka the High Value Nurse, checking in once again back with another video. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the road to 100,000. We are very close to 40,000. Do me a favor, hit that like button, notification bell, leave a comment, because it all helps with the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate it. Thank you in advance. Now let's get into it. And it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into this. But the truth that a lot of people won't say is that it's impossible to keep pouring into people when you physically, mentally drain yourself. It's not a good look. It won't work. Us as nurses, we get so used to putting everybody else before ourselves, but we got to really learn to start healing the pain and the trauma within ourselves. See, nursing is about care. But if your real life is full of bitterness, pain, chaos, burnout, how do you expect to thrive in this field? How do you expect to take care of other people when, again, you're not even doing the right thing to take care of yourself? It's really like you showing up to work with an empty cup, and eventually it's going to spill. And it's crazy because too many of us, especially in these high stress environments, walk around with unprocessed trauma, whether it's grief, years of childhood trauma, or just straight up being in survival mode. And I think it's important that we tend to take that personal time and, begin to check ourselves, because our mental health, our mental clarity is very important. Because as we see all up in the news lately, all these nurses crashing out and doing all these kind of crazy things that really can't be explained. Nurses stealing drugs and pulling their mamas off life support and not going about it in the right way and stuff like that. That's just crazy crash outs that you can tell these people are stressed. And stress can end up unaliving you. And when you stress, it can definitely show up in your work. Sometimes you be going crazy on your patients. Sometimes, I don't do that, but it happens. You be talking crazy, or you be real short with your patients. And when you're just not being yourself, your patients and your coworkers and stuff like that, they notice, especially if you're somebody that does good work. If you're somebody that do good work and, you know what I'm saying, and you coming in and you having a really bad day, or you just got a lot of things going on in your life that you haven't really taken care of, patients can pick up on that. And, you can cause real concern, because some of your patients really do love and care about you, especially if you work in long-term care. You tend to develop relationships with these people because sometimes you're really the only family they got. But if you don't deal with that pain, it starts to deal with you, whether you on the floor, whether you're doing a shift change, or you in a break room, or whatever the case may be. You have to deal with it. Listen, when I lost my brother, I signed up for grief counseling, and I stopped going because the memory of talking about him was too painful, because it was so new. You feel me? And then I had to go back to school. It was just so many things I had to do, so I put it off. But I am going back, because I do realize that grief is very real, and grief can pop up on you at any moment. And it's important to handle that accordingly and handle that in the right ways. And fortunately, I have a good support system around me that's helping me process that. But grief counseling, it was a good thing for me. It was just, at that time, I just couldn't handle it because I just had so much work to do and I had things to get done. And now that a big part of that work is complete, I can take the time to go check that. Let's bring it back to the patients. The patients are intuitive. They know when you are present mentally and emotionally. You got a perfect vitals. You can do the perfect dressing change. You can do the perfect medication pass. But if you're not there with some patients, it's like they still feel uncared for because they know that's not you, particularly on the norm. And it's not the patient's fault. And everybody has the right to have a bad day. But that just means that some things need to be checked. And for too long, a lot of us let things go unchecked. And that could cause a bigger problem in the future. Y'all know I'm a God-fearing man. I love Jesus. And although I'm not perfect, I'm working towards becoming better every day. And praying, listening to the word, listening to Pastor Geno Jennings. Those are some of the things that, I use to help me get through my pain. Talking to my parents, talking to my lady, that helps me out a lot. Talking to my friends, just my immediate circle, that helps me a lot. So whatever it takes for you, whether that be fasting, praying, going to see a spiritual leader, or whatever the case may be, it's necessary. Take those necessary steps and do it. And don't think anything is wrong with going to get some help because you are a healthcare provider. And I think that's another thing too, where a lot of healthcare providers be like, well, I'm the one that's doing the help, so why do I need to go seek help? Well, if you get hit by a car and you're a nurse and you break a leg, you're going to the hospital, right? So it should be the exact same thing for your mental health and your mental stability. It's very important because, like I said earlier, we got a lot of nurses that's crashing out. And for those of you who don't know what crashing out is, it means like going crazy and doing stuff that's completely out of the norm. And we don't need that. And real talk, like at the end of the day, when you start healing, people notice. You don't take things personal. Little stuff doesn't bother you no more. It's just you start to become elevated. And I do understand that if you work in a toxic environment, it can be difficult to live in your elevation because you have so many other toxic people around you. But that's where that mindset comes in. Like, I'm just here to take care of my people, go home and get my money. As long as you don't put your hands on me or disrespect me, you can feel how you want to feel. But that's what we doing over here. I just had to really get real with myself though. Like, I was grieving when I was going through nursing school. Like, I was grieving. I remember like the first semester, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I don't think I can do this, because my brother's death was still on my mind. And it was just a lot. She was in school, started in September, and my birthday is in September, my brother's birthday is in September, and he died in September. And my mom was just like, September gonna come every year at the same time, and if you gotta stay strong and keep moving. And I really thought about dropping a program, and she was like, look, if that's what you need to do to protect your mental health, then do it. But she was like, I really believe that you can do this. And at that time I needed that, because she had more faith in me than I had in myself at the time. So I just had to pray about it, and I got myself together, and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and now we here, RN graduate. But I had to check myself. I had somebody in my corner. I had multiple people in my corner that I talked to and that I could vent to when I needed to. So, and I know that may not be the case for a lot of y'all, but please find some help. Please find some help. You're not alone. You know what I'm saying? And begin that healing journey. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't trying to get too deep on y'all, but we have to heal. It's too many people walking around in pain that are healthcare providers, and they're not even providing care for themselves. And that has to change. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Let's continue the conversation. And if you don't do nothing else, get paid. You gotta nurse, get paid. Peace.